everybody, welcome to my Detox Diary episode 5, which means that it's week 4, which means that it is the last week of the detox. Woohoo! I've done it! I'm so stoked. I'm really proud of myself, treated myself to a nice haircut because I found that is really important to reward yourself with something like this, with something like a haircut or a new outfit or something like that is not food related straight away, because I will be doing that. But it just takes away that association of the restriction, if that sort of makes sense. Like it's just good for your brain habits to treat yourself with other things other than food and alcohol, because that's where the bad habits can be created. So I started off with that. Tomorrow I plan to buy myself a new chain for my necklace as that broke. And then the following day, I am going to enjoy a lovely glass of wine and some Kettle's potato chips, because if you've been following the rest of the episodes, you would know those are the two things that I have been looking forward to the most. So I am super excited for that. I feel really happy. I feel like accomplished. I feel proud of myself, and I feel just all around really good. On Sunday, I'm probably going to be reminded of why I've done this whole thing, which is fine, because I'm going to then carry on with a lot of these lessons that I have learnt anyway. So I'm not going to be quite as restrictive, but I will definitely be pulling back a little bit, because I'm not one of those uptight sort of nutritionists that doesn't relax a little bit around certain things. I will be having wine, and I enjoy wine, and I don't intend on giving that up forever. So I'm going to bring that back in, but moderately, as you should do with all good things, right? So I'm super excited, and that is pretty much the summary of this particular week because it really has felt like quite the slog for this particular week. Like it's kind of, it's the final stretch, and it's right there, and you can see it and you can smell it, but it's just not quite there yet. So it's been probably the toughest, I think. But I also daily get reminded of how good I feel as well. So I have notes still, so I'm just going to go through these, see if I've covered that. Okay, so the reason that I chose to do the 4-week detox is basically because that coincides with Dry July, which is what we do in New Zealand, which is helps to raise funds for cancer patients. And that is basically the point. You just give up alcohol for 31 days of July, and you try to raise funds to give to the charity. So I just wanted them to work together, so I thought I might as well just do it for the whole 31 days. But for a detox, you could do 2 weeks, you could do 6 weeks, you could do whatever. But I think it is really important that you do talk to someone about doing that, so that you are supported through it, because it is quite tough, actually. You need the support, and you need the guidance, and you need to know that some things are okay, because some of it can be quite restrictive. But if you can sort of work in with a nutritionist, and you can help to pick your battles and, make it work for you, then it's going to work longer term, right? And so I feel like I am so energetic because I've been sleeping better, my gut is better, my brain is less foggy. I've been having good lean proteins, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. It's just been like a good all around thing, if that sort of makes sense. But I won't forget about how the sulfites in wine affect me. I don't miss those. I don't miss the headaches and the hangover blues that come even after 1 or 2 glasses. I really don't miss that. But that's a good reminder, I suppose. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what my tolerance level is like on Saturday when I do have one. That'll be fun. So I'll update you on that as well. So the next thing I was going to talk about. So the update is basically just from last week to this week. So I might do like a full wrap up one. So I'm just talking about this particular week, the final week of it. And the things to note this particular week is that I have less sleep, and I don't need it. So I wake up really early, and I just I just wake up on my own, and I don't feel like I need to sleep any better. Like I feel refreshed and I feel fine to go about my day. I sort of go to sleep roughly 11:30, which is a bit late, but that's just kind of how the day winds down for me. But I've been waking up at 4 and 5 a.m. So I would like more sleep, but my body just wakes up and I'm kind of good to go. So I just get up and do yoga and all the other stuff throughout the day. So other things to note as well is that my appetite has settled completely. So I remember in the first week I was just ravenous, like I was eating twice as much as I usually did. And so that has come back down to normal, which is good because it was concerning to me. I feel like my gut has repaired itself as well, so that's all good. My energy is good, like I've said, and I'm not hurting myself as much because if you remember, if you watched it in the first episode, or maybe it was the second one, where I hurt myself, but I kept doing it. Like in the first and second week, every time I went to the gym, I would just do something and hurt myself, and it would take a long time to recover, but my recovery is a lot better now, so that's something good to note. And the other things too that is really important is that I've just learnt so much, and this is why I will continue on with a lot of the things that I've learnt. So while I will be having wine, I'm also going to continue to reduce my dairy intake, which wasn't that high anyway, and it never really agrees with me, but I did have some Greek yogurt, but I might just keep that down anyway because I feel better for it. I'm going to have more white fish because that's what I enjoy anyway, and that's what I would like to have. I just, for whatever reason, it just wasn't that high, but I'd like to keep having a lot of that in the days. Much less plastic. Now, I always knew that plastic isn't fantastic for you. That reminds me of that Barbie Girl song. But until you put it in a context that's really relatable to yourself, you don't really realize that. So when I started to learn about this detox and it all came together, it made more sense. So plastic breaks down into chemical compounds which are toxic to our body. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? But when you then realize that that puts extra load onto your liver, which disrupts your endocrine system, so your hormones, then you realize that that sort of exposure upsets your whole body in so many different ways. And so when you put it in that kind of context, it really sets in a bit more. So I have cut down on a lot of plastic, and I haven't gone all out just yet because doing that all at once can be very, very expensive, but I've been very cautious about how much I use, where I use it. I've replaced my work lunch box for a glass one in bamboo, and same with my teacup because I was using a reusable plastic one. I use stainless steel and have just tried to reduce that down as much as possible and then just replace things as I go along now that I know more about it. So the other things as well is that I'm much more conscious about what I put on my hair and my skin and my face and what I wash my clothes in and what I wash my dishes in, like just how much exposure that you actually get to all these toxins that puts extra load on your liver and your body and your gut and all that sort of stuff is really fascinating when you look into it. So I will be carrying those on a lot more. I'll also be getting some more indoor plants. I've never been that great at keeping them alive, so I have to make a conscious effort for that. But that's just education, so I'm sure I'll be fine. But I've now got aloe plants, aloe vera, I've got bamboo, and they're really pretty, and I like the theme anyway. They're actually behind the camera, similar to this theme that's going on here, but real. So I'll be decking out the place with a bit more of that sort of stuff. And the other thing too is that I see myself having less chocolate because I don't actually feel the need for it anymore because I get my cocoa from the fudge brownie that I make, and my taste buds are really sensitive to sugar now. But we'll see what happens. I know it's not great for me. A dark chocolate every now and then is completely fine, but too much of the white chocolate especially and the other ones in between is not healthy overall. Be careful what I say there, but I think you know what I mean, hopefully. I'll also be reducing alcohol intake overall, and I'll be having more slow cooked meals because there is so much more goodness in that. Even making my own stock, so I get the collagen that helps with gut repair. Like there's just so many things that I already knew, but I just didn't put them into the right context to make sense, relatable sense at the time. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so moving on. I've already said this already, but I'll just say it again. I feel very happy. I feel very accomplished. I feel healthy again. And you can probably see my hair is shinier, my skin is clear because I had breakouts in the beginning. My hair was a bit dry and it's like so much better now. My sleep is really good. My brain is good. And even my body temperature regulation has been better. Like I'm not fluctuating quite as much. I mean, I get cold and I have some issues with rain nads, but nowhere near as bad as what I did in that first week. And it is, at the moment, it is winter, so that's kind of understandable that I'm cold, but not as much fluctuation. So that's been very interesting as well. Right, so that is how I have been feeling. Now I want to talk to you about statistics because I can say this and I can say that, but the actual numbers are what's important, right? So I've been tracking myself using a bioimpedance analysis. So if you've never used this before, this is what it looks like. So it is, I put electrodes on myself, sends a current through, measures resistance, reactance, yada, 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 and then it gives us. So it has in here, it's got my weight and ideal weight and BMI. Now, just talking about BMI, I am not a massive fan of using that too much and abiding by that because I don't think that it's very relative to your body shape, your body type, and all that sort of stuff. It's very general and it should stay that way. And that's, again, why you need to see a nutritionist to help point that out to you, because if you're trying to get to an unattainable number, then that's just not good for your mind. So you need to know what is actually healthy for you specifically. So BMI is on here, but I don't use it. What I look at, though, is fat mass and active tissue mass, which is muscle mass. And then there's got some cellular health indicators in here as well. So there is muscle quality, cellular fluid balance, and hydration status, as well as breaking that down into extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid. We want most of it on the inside of our cells. That's where all the goodness happens. And it breaks it down into percentages, so you can see how well you're holding on to that water and whether you're inflamed and all that sort of stuff too. And there's also some nutritional recommendations as well for like kilojoules, calories, the protein, carbohydrate, fat, and water intake that is recommended specifically for you. And I love using that because we're all told that you should have 2 liters of water per day, and that's not, again, it's not specific enough for you because everyone's different. So the more muscle you have, the more hydrated you are, and kind of the less you require. I think that makes sense if I'm saying that right. Hopefully I'm explaining that right. Anyway, to put a long story short, I specifically myself, I need 1.2 litres of water per day to maintain myself as I am at the moment, plus a litre per hour of exercise, according to this. Doing a detox, I do need a bit more, and I noticed that in the first couple of weeks, but I have to be honest, I wasn't that great in the last 2. I did struggle to get through 3 litres, but I still feel good anyway. Okay, so that is my last one, and I did 4, 1 each week. So I'm just going to read out what the statistics are because I have them on an Excel spreadsheet just here. So throughout the 4 weeks, I lost a total of 3 kilos, and I didn't have a whole lot to lose anyway. I just didn't feel healthy where I was at. So I'm pretty happy with this progress. Some people have more to lose, some have less to lose. So again, don't be too hard on yourself with that. You sort of know where you need to be with it. Okay, so 3 kilos. But interestingly, I've lost 3.5 kilos of fat mass. And this is why this is such a good thing to use, because if I've lost 3.5 kgs of pure fat, but I've only lost 3 kg in total. So what's happened is I've actually gained, I didn't do that number. I've gained, I think it was about 500 grams of muscle, and my fluid balance and retention has improved quite a lot. I have lost 2 centimeters off my waist, and yeah, my hydration status has improved, as well as my intracellular, extracellular fluid balance. So that's awesome. I've also improved my muscle to fat ratio as well, because I've become leaner, I suppose, because I've gained muscle and lost fat. So those are those numbers. it's right there. That's what has happened in only these 4 weeks, and that's why I want to continue on with it, because I'm not quite where I want to be just yet. Not far off, but I'm not quite there. And and it's just going to take a little bit longer with added things like wine, and I'm going to have chips, okay? Things like that. It's going to take a little bit longer, and there's many reasons for that I'd love to explain, but I can't do that here. So those are the numbers. I don't know what to tell you. I lost 3.5 kilos of fat mass, which is pretty cool, in 4 weeks. And like I said, I didn't have a whole lot to lose anyway, so I'm pretty happy with all that. And overall, I just feel awesome. And so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to treat myself to a new chain and just have a look around and just relax a little bit. Might even get a massage. And then after I've given my initial self treats, just for sticking it out, because it was not that easy. It was fairly fine. Everyone's going to be different here, but I found it pretty good, but not super easy. So anyway, I will then have a nice glass of wine and some chips, and I'm going to love it. I know I've talked about that a lot, so you know exactly what I'm going to be doing. And I'm just going through my notes to see if I've missed out anything else, and I don't think I have. So that is basically it for week 4. And like I said, I'll probably do like a final one, unless I've already done it in here. I don't know. See, here I go. So long story short, Detox has been fantastic. It hasn't felt overly restrictive. Like I said, it's been full of balanced meals, good fruits, good vegetables, lean meats, organic this, free range that, protein, nuts, seeds, and supporting supplements, and they were quite enjoyable to take as well. My body is a whole lot better for it, and I have learned a lot about how much my environment affects my body and my behaviors, like how you get toxins from the environment. But if your body internally is not happy, then you're creating toxins there, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy how much stuff goes on and just how sensitive our bodies actually are when you really sit down and think about it. So I would recommend that if you want to do something like this, that you do it with a qualified nutritionist, so that they can make it specific for you, for safety, but also just to make sure that you understand it and then you can stick it out. You're not confused, you're not overwhelmed, all that sort of stuff. That's what we do. So there is a lot to take on board all at once, so we can put it into bite-sized chunks. We can do it all at once. Like, there's plenty of ways that you can do it, but it is good to have that support there. And also just to know that, if you are struggling, that's okay. We can reassess that and make some changes if we need to, or just give you encouragement. So we just take that as it comes. So if you or anyone that you know who could be interested in doing a detox or anything nutritionally, really, you can find me on the links that I'll put below. And I would absolutely love it if you could like and subscribe to my channel, so that I can grow and I can share more nutrition tips and health tips and all that sort of stuff. Thank you for watching. Bye.